Good evening, everyone, and welcome to PGS. Not my usual sighting spots for tonight. It is Tier 1. I'm back on the main channel once again. Used to probably seeing the commentary from the Tier 2 side of things, but here tonight, obviously Casper is not here for this evening, so it will be me taking you through the action for tonight from the best of what PGS can offer. Waiting for cars to come out, but it does bring us to Singapore tonight. One of the longest tracks really to do, even with the short qualifying format and the 50% race distance. It can still feel like an eternity around here. Having done a league race around here, it can take a long time to do a lap around here, and it is one of those tracks where you will see the drivers probably, well, one lap, maybe the only laps they actually do in terms of the drivers. I think that's Linguini is your first car out on track. Yes, it is. Linguini in the Alpine. Having a quick look at the standings to have a quick look for what happened last week. We were at Kota last week. Unfortunately, I was unavailable to cover Tier 2 last week. But last week, Linguini was unfortunately did not make the Grand Prix in the end. He DNF'd out of the race. So while the drivers are heading around on their laps, we'll have a quick look at the standings. The Fizz, who is in the Aston Martin, leads here tonight. It's on the garage currently. Ghost in the Mercedes is in second. Points for Fizz, 30 points for Ghost. Gattuso in the Ferrari is 26 points. He's only 4 points behind. And only 1 point behind to Marky rather. In the McLaren, the first in the McLaren here tonight, Mitch in P5. In the second of the two Mercedes on 21. Linguini on 17. In P6, we're currently on board with. Vera Dade in 7th, he's on 15, 2 points just behind Linguini. Luke Bailey in 8th, 1 point behind Vera Dade. Pinto in 9th on 11, 1 point in the Williams, and then 10th is XL Jamie, who's on 10 but not here tonight, and then Sub-Zero on 4 points. RZ on 3 points, Yortia Assis is on 2. Dave on 2 himself, equal with the Kit server. Second of the two Alpines, Ryan on 1 point, and then no point scorers for the remaining drivers who are there. Currently on board with Linguini, he's indeed on his first lap. So the standings for the constructors, it is Aston Martin who lead on 74 points to Mercedes 51, who are in P2. McLaren in P3. 39 points, 3 points ahead of Ferrari, who are in 4th. Alpine at 5th on 19, with a very close battle with them, and Williams at 5th and 6th, 19 to 15. Then it's a bit of a drop down to Haas, who are on 3. Then it's Kicksauber on 2, Red Bull are on 1, and it's Racing Bulls at the bottom of the leaderboard on 0. As Linguini is just coming around on what is the altered part of the track that was done, I believe, 1 to 2 years ago now, to help improve the racing and shorten down the track because it no longer goes under the second part of the bridge, as Linguini does at 28.2. That time around, we'll see who was the next car to come around. I believe on an outlap is it Dave. It is indeed Dave, the other Alpine coming around. He goes into P2, 29.2, just over 1 second slower. Marky goes to the top, 27.8 for the McLaren driver. That will be, I believe, Dr. Carl, I think Shaggy. He just started, so he will not. We'll come back to him in just a moment. We'll see who is the next car after that. I think. See who else is there. It is Gattuso coming up to the third sector split in the Ferrari. a driver I have seen in PGS actually who does have a lot of pace, and he has proved it there. 27.7. He goes a tenth quicker than McLaren, and the Ferrari driver leads the current provisional times at the moment, with only 4 drivers having set times on the board. The next car I believe is going to be a Aston Martin, coming around to complete a lap, I do believe. Not the ones I believe are on outlaps, so they'll be just starting. So we'll see. I think it's Shaggy. Shaggy's in 76 lap, right? So it's Ryan, who was in the Red Bull. Shaggy, I believe, has backed out of the lap. I can see the one of those two. I think it's Mitch, who's currently on a lap at the moment. Down to him. He's currently in sector 3. Hasn't validated though, so there will not be any time there for him. So Ghost, his teammate, on an outlap just ahead of him. That's Luke Bailey, I believe, coming around sector 2 at the moment. It's not going to be him that's currently on a lap. Dave's done 2 laps, he's on at 29.2. He's improved marginally on his second lap. Currently on board with Luke at the moment, as he comes round to complete his lap around the Marina Bay circuit, and hasn't validated, unfortunately. It's easy to do on that small stretch of track. What you can see there in terms of how easy it can be to actually validate that particular bit of track. So he's indeed going to have to go again. So we'll see if the Fizz can, the current championship leader, can put this car, his Aston Martin, to the top of the timesheets. Wait and see. Carrying that number 5, well known and synonymous with a certain real life driver who carried that number pretty much through the entirety of his career, otherwise known as Sebastian Vettel. 26.6 for the Fizz. He goes to the top, and very convincing margin there over second place. Ryan pops himself into P4 on a 27.9. Shaggy does a 36, but I believe that was because he had to back out of the lap. Ghost, meanwhile, coming around to complete his first lap time on the board with an Alpine just in tow, just behind. And I believe that's not it is, most likely. Apologies, Dave at the scrub, most likely. Everyone else has yet to get a lap time on the board. We'll go back to Shaggy in just a minute as there goes Ghost. 27.4, quickest final sector. But he is in the second place for the moment. There goes Shaggy into P8, P7 rather. Much better improvement on lap times for him. Marking Linguini immediately going back out on the track once again. 10 minutes and 20 seconds left in this particular session. We've got a little bit of a disconnection for Dave. See if I've got him on the list, and see if I can find him real quick. If he has added me, I believe no, he has not. So if I can't find him, I will not be able to invite him. Unfortunately, if I cannot find him. Ah, he has added me. There we go. There we go. He should be able to get himself back into the lobby once again. So we have cars on outlaps at the moment. Go and see if any of those cars, that's Ryan coming into the pits after his lap. He's coming around to do another lap on the tyres, so we'll go back with the Aston Martin for the time being. Seeing how he gets on. If you wonder why the voice is just a little bit lower, I spent the entirety of it about 150% in terms of commentary, which probably didn't do my voice any good. I think I'm maybe somewhat paying for that now. In terms of not really finding a moment, but to see it was a great race, I did that particular commentary on. So hopefully the drivers will be tonight. The same level of racing action tonight here at Singapore. Obviously, as there's Dave back in the lobby again. To get him back, as I do like this track Singapore, but it doesn't quite have the same level of challenge, if I want to put it that way, as to what it used to. As such, it was taken out with the Singapore slang, and I believe taking out, I think it was about 3 or 4 corners that got taken out there. That long straight is now not in DRS zone, by the way, that's particular straight. Particular straight is purely just a slipstream battle down towards the pit. This is the third from final corner. Corner rather. The left-hander, which leads into the right as the Fizz decides to stop to come to the pits. Not happy with the second lap. And that is that for this lap. I believe Ghost currently on a lap at the moment. The Mercedes driver coming towards the final couple of corners with a little bit of traffic in front of him. He's clouded the wall very heavily. He's just coming out of that particular corner, and we'll see if he can improve on his lap. He does indeed by 0.3 of a second. It's 27.1 for Ghost. So even with that wall tap, which was more than a little bit of a hefty bit of contact, he manages to find nearly 0.3 in his lap. I believe one of the cars that was on a lap at the moment as well, he's just started, was Marky. He is currently on a lap at the moment with Unlock, whichever one he prefers. Sometimes I use shorten gamer tags or names, I say gamer tags, but Steam names or PSN names, etc, etc. Do sometimes shorten those down at points. So I believe we've got, I think the other, just ahead, that is Tuso's going into 4th, 27.3. I believe Luke Bailey's just a bit further ahead, so we'll go on to Luke, see if he can get a lap on the board this time round. Luke, obviously the person who I partially got involved with his league through, so I have his presence to thank for my somewhat also talented points. Birdade goes into P5 in the second of the two Aston Martins, 27.6. For him, we're on 6, just under 6.5 minutes left as here comes Luke Bailey coming towards the line. Let's see what the second of the cars can do. It's going to be P8, 28.4 for Luke Bailey. Himself just ahead of Shaggy at the moment. So we'll see if either of the two drivers who've yet set lap time, Sub-Zero coming towards the line. He stays, he's in P12, probably not the most ideal of laps for him. He'll be looking to go again. Uasis not in a slowdown lap at the moment in the kick server, so he will not be improving on that particular lap. Mitch still not put a lap time on the board as of quite yet. I believe these drivers are now going to be on cooldown laps to a point unless they've got enough fuel for 2 laps around here. So they may potentially be doing that in terms of what they're looking, in terms of looking to maybe do the 2 laps in that particular span. So Ryan's also on a lap just behind. See what Dave does first. In the Aston Martin, I believe he's coming around towards the end of the second sector split. Past second sector split, I don't know if he is on a lap currently at the moment. No, he's backing into the pit lane. Ryan, however, is right behind him, is coming towards the final corner. Cruised by just over 0.3, goes into P6, jumps himself just ahead of Linguini at the moment. 26 or 27.6 for him, 27.630 or 27.655. Not much margin between those two. Mitch is now finally getting himself out in the field. I believe Dave has popped himself into P10. Yes, he has. 28.7 for Dave. Oh, just spins right afterwards as well, so there'll be no more improvements in that front. We're going to go to Uasis, who is currently looking to improve on his lap. He made the mistake in the middle sector, so we'll probably see a massive improvement from the kick cyber driver in this middle sector now, where obviously where he made the mistake just coming under the bridge section, obviously where infamously I believe Felipe Massa drifted his Ferrari several years ago. I believe 2012, I believe, where he drifted side by side to get past Bruno Senna coming through into that particular corner. Going to be much bigger, much improvement for the Euro T driver. There we go, 16 seconds at the moment, considering he completely backed off having made the mistake. Got to be careful on traction coming out of that particular corner, as there's a little bit of traffic just ahead. That is a Mercedes just ahead that you can see. Hopefully not giving him too much dirty air. And one of those cars does go for the pit lane, I think that's Ryan. Bailey before the pit lane. You got coming towards the line, poops himself into P10 in the kit Sauber. The only car left to set a lap time, and he's just started on a lap, was the car just in front, I believe, who was just on the out lap, just ahead of him, was Mitch. So Mitch looking to now put his benchmark on, and most likely only time on the board here. 26.3 is his first sector split. We'll see how that measures up at the end of this particular lap. That sector split measures up. And now into the second sector. Coming down towards where the old Singapore sling used to be up until about a few years ago, when it was just turned into a left, right, oh, a right and left, right, left. I believe I got that in the right order. Have a little bit of connection troubles with Dave once again. I'll give him just a second, as Mitch is currently still on his lap at the moment. Mitch needs to be careful not to go all four wheels off over that white line there, as it will invalidate your lap very easily, and probably pick up penalties in the race if you're not known of that particular thing. Using as much of the track and the white lines as you can is Mitch, as he comes towards the final couple of corners and into the final corner now, carrying as much speed as you can through this final corner, and it's a 27.5 for Mitch. Great lap there from the Mercedes driver, and he's into P5. That might be his only lap of the day, unless he decides to go again, which he's not. That blinking light is on telling he is currently recharging on the ERS, unless he decides to opt to go again. Anyway, give me a second just to go and see if I can get Dave back to this lobby once again. See if I can find him. Need to go quite a bit down to find him. Just a little bit further up than that, I do believe. Oh, he's even further down than that, actually. A lot of drivers now coming up on outlaps for their final time. That is a Williams in the background doing a little bit of tyre warm-up. That one would either be Pinto or Sub-Zero in the background. Fizz on an lap. Fizz is one of the first to start on a lap, so we'll go on board with the Aston Martin driver. 50 seconds left in this qualifying session, and it is last chance saloon for the drivers to improve on their lap times and see what they can do. As Marquez now started on a lap as well, a little bit further back, and Verdade as well as Ryan currently on an out lap, and Linguini also out on his lap. Luke, Shaggy and Sub-Zero also on laps. There's all going to be action at all stations towards the end of this qualifying session, where the grip will be at its best. As using that wide line, I tend to find, and that's a massive moment for the Fizz, and I think that might be it, because I think he just had a little bit of a motion where the rear was. He tried to put power down there, and that is it. There's going to be no improvement there for the Fizz in the Aston Martin. As we'll now see Ghost currently in sector 2 split at the moment. It's a little bit further back, I believe. We've got a couple of drivers who asked us, and David Scrub have finished. Linguini was not able to make it to the line, left it a bit too short. So I think Marky's coming up. I think it's actually Luke Bailey who's coming around to complete a lap. Yes, it is. He's about 6/10 of a second improvement for Luke Bailey. So what can he do as he comes towards the line? 27.9 for Luke Bailey. He's in the top 10 at the moment, and that is his final run, his final gambit in this particular session. I believe the next car to come around is going to be Verdade. Yes, it is. He's just under a 10th quicker than his best time, and he does have traffic ahead of him, so this is not going to be ideal. That Williams, I think, is also on a lap at the moment. That Sub-Zero is practically pushing through there. There's going to be no improvement there, and that Aston Martin is going to feel very much hard done by with the amount of the fact they had the traffic through the entirety of the last sector, and he's just not going to be best impressed by that one. The Ferrari going to the line, he goes to stays in P4. Marquis is still in P3. Ghost goes to the top. 26.4 for the Mercedes driver. Quicker than the Fizz by 2/10, just under 2/10 of a second is the time gap, or time delta gap, between the two of them. And I believe the last car to cross the line is going to be Shaggy, who is currently in an invalid lap, and he's probably not using the battery. So that is your rundown for this particular session. and now we'll have the drivers all come into the pits, or carry on going round, and then we will be done with this qualifying session. There we go, Shaggy was into the pits, and there we go. Nice little quick wrap up to the end of this session. And now we will have the racing action to come from Singapore. Very much a challenging track, but you can surprise people with where you make your moves around here. So let's see how this all indeed does play out. As I can't actually see anything, that is absolutely great. You'll have to see the standings there, there's no gaps as such, so yeah, I will show you the grid when we get to the actual thing. But I can't see anything there, unfortunately. Here we go. We've got a dry format for this race. Gonna have a quick, as I say, obviously because you couldn't see the grid. Ghost was your man on pole, was your driver on pole position when steering that front row. Alongside him was the Fizz in the Aston Martin. Markey and Gaduso third and fourth on row number 2. Shaggy and Linguini 5th and 6th. The Visa Cash App and the Alpine. Mitch in the second of the 2 Mercedes, and Verdade in 8th in the Aston Martin. Ryan and Luke Bailey will round out the top 10. And just outside of the top 10 is J Pinto and your TSS. Dave and Sub-Zero round off the grids here, and only two drivers in the Haas, that being Ghost, the lead car at the moment, and Linguini down in 6th. We'll be back in just a moment. Let me just go and get some water from downstairs because my throat is just a little bit parched. Just bear with me for a moment. apologies about that. I had to go and go away and do something, but we are back and ready. I missed a start, unfortunately, so there may be certain things that were missed. Fortunately, I do not have an idea of exactly what has happened. So we have a car backwards, that is the leader. Well, it was the car who started in second place in the grid, that was the Fizz. Ghost now leads, and it's US up into 7th. And a quick old look at the tyres that the people have indeed up to start on. More tyres to the top two. Verdade trying to get past as Mitch is trying to make his way through as well for P3. The second of the Mercedes is battling with the first of the Aston Martins. Zanguini is winning Gattuso both out of the Grand Prix. I'm not entirely sure what's happened between the two of them. Verdade and Mitch still going side by side with Shaggy just ahead of them, so he will have all the pressure on the shoulders of him as Shaggy tries to go round the outside. It's currently a Mercedes 1-2. I believe it's 3 wide at the moment. That's an amazing battle going on here for third place, and we got a massive pile up. That's just been a massive amount of contact. That looks like that's Mitch who's gone and lost his front wing. He's still in this Grand Prix, but that has really not helped. That was 3 wide into a corner that you can normally do 2 wide in just about, and unfortunately Mitch came off worse out of that. It's real unfortunate about that particular moment as there's Mitch out of the Grand Prix. That is this track has already claimed 3 victims in this race so far, and showing very much how unforgiving it actually is as a track. As looking back is Mark, who is trying to get his way past Ryan, who's now into P2 after that entire kerfuffle of chaos that unfolded earlier on. The Sub-Zero has also been in the pit lane very early on in this Grand Prix due to, I believe, probably wing damage most likely, as there's the Fizz getting himself back past after that early spin. He's up to P4, and Shaggy's dropping down positions. He must have had a spin at that particular final corner. Yes, he has. Shaggy's into the pit lane, so he's on his hard tyres. That's not ideal for Shaggy, which has completely ruined his strategy. Unless there is a safety car deployed, that's not going to be ideal for him. As Marky's still over the back of Ryan, trying to make his way through the DRS on this particular down Raffles Boulevard towards the end of the straight, towards the end of Sector 1 split. They go side by side round the inside for the McLaren on the Red Bull, the lone Red Bull in this Grand Prix. And Mark is into P2, making his way towards Ghost, who leads by about 3.8 seconds, taking advantage of the melee of chaos that happened at the start of that particular race. And Luke Bailey, meanwhile, is still looking over the back of Verdade for what's P5 at the moment, the second of the 2 McLarens, who also has ACC 4 company just behind him. Really think that. Always important to hydrate. Something I should have done beforehand or got beforehand. But it's a little four-way battle, 4-car battle here. You got the second of the 2 Aston Martins, the second of the McLarens, the sole Kick Sauber in this race, the first of the 2 Williams, and then you've down from P5 down to about P8 into the pits comes the comes Verdade. I think that must be for damage on that particular car, which now leaves Luke as the leader of this particular train, and the Kick Sauber driver is putting the pressure on just behind, and then into behind as well, and P7 is looking to make his way through as well in the Williams, trying to see if you can get a double move done potentially here, but you do need to be quite close to make this work. We're going to look and see what's going on as he goes down. I think down the inside, but he's not able to do the inside, unfortunately, in this particular occasion, just a bit too far back. A little bit of a lock up, and that's a mistake from Luke. That's maybe going to cost him 2 positions here, and I think it could if he's not careful. He does indeed only lose 1, and he's going to have a bit of a snap coming out of that particular corner, but the Williams driver has to stay behind for now, the lead Williams driver in this particular race. Has to stay behind for the moment, but the Kick Sauber has cleared away, and we got getting past Shaggy, who's on a brand new set of medium compound tyres, having had to make the pit stop. Yeah, unfortunately on that one, Mitch did actually catch that one. It looked like it was just a moment where you were just caught out there. So there's a slide and a loss of the rear for the Kick Sauber, and he's now down a position, down a position with the 2 positions actually, from where he was, having made the move on the McLaren, as the Williams tries to go up the inside into the final corner, but is not able to complete the move. And now trying to go round the outside. There's going to be no space left on the outside there by the McLaren driver of Luke Bailey. Luke Bailey holding on to P5 for the moment, and the Aston Martin just ahead of these two is actually catching up just a little bit to the lone Red Bull of Ryan in this race, and looking to see if he can make that move stick in this particular occasion. On that one, if he can get close enough to trying to get the move done with the DRS, is he going to be able to get the move done? I don't think he's going to quite be close enough, and the way he's not on this particular occasion. Driver's still stuck in behind for what is the 2nd lap in a row. It could also be a part, the wings could also be playing a part here. If you opt to run just a little bit more of a lower, slipperier setup, it could allow you a chance to keep ahead of the car head, because high wings around here are not uncommon due to the nature of there's not many straights on this particular track, but it's mostly all a little bit slower speed corners. It's a little bit of a wide moment for Luke as he comes out of that corner. This is where the 2nd of the 2 DRS zones is on the track, and that final being on the main straight. A little bit of emotion there, as there's a little bit of contact in the 2 of them. Yellow flag is out for that particular contact, and he's just back on the train. And Pinto, not with the best of exits there, tried to go up the inside, realising he was going to lock up, and went sideways, trying not to make contact. There was still a little bit of contact in the 2 drivers, but unfortunately he came off a lot worse out of that particular occasion. Looking at the battle for P2 at the moment, Marquis still the lead McLaren in this race. The McLaren in 2nd place at the moment, but the runners-up of the 2 McLarens is trying to hold back Ryan, who is on the medium compound tyres. Ghost remains 2.2 seconds ahead of these 2 battling, and the more these 2 battle, it allows Ghost to get away, but that gap has come down actually. It was around 4 seconds earlier on, and now it's only at 2.4. The lowest, it was about 2.2 seconds, and Ghosts had to respond as a result of that particular motion. Ryan's still trying to see if he can make his move, but still not quite close enough to make his way through, as we've covered about 6 laps in what is say one of the longest Grand Prix to do as a 50% of the race distance. Even longer if you do 100, as I've found doing commentary on 100% races on this particular track. It's a very long affair in terms of what you do, what you're seeing. We've had motions behind. I think Asus has had some contact, and we've got a car side by side. That's Jay Pinto and Luke Bailey. I've just unfortunately just missed that the move between that is Luke Bailey's now down to P6. He's going to have the DRS enabled. You hear the little beep there as it does get enabled. It's like sort of making that move into turn 1, but you did need to be a lot closer than where that McLaren was in the rear of Williams. That could be because the medium compound tyres are still the somewhat better tyre compound at the moment, so you'll be looking to try and get the hard tyres to that point where those tyres will be at a good point. Still very close to them. 7 10 6 covers the top of the 2nd and 3rd at the moment, as Dave is the first one to pick up a penalty in this race. 1.4 seconds. He's got Asus for company just behind. See that little battle's going on. Just a little bit further back. The Alpine and the Kick Sauber battling for P7 at the moment. For 10 the way it is just now, Asus would get that position off of Dave due to the penalty that is being clipping over his head from early on in this Grand Prix. Shaggy still hanging on to the back of Verdade a little bit further back as well. Half second covers those 2, 9th and 10th. We started with 14, we still have 11 left in this Grand Prix. It's about 7/10 of a second, so this is a little 3-way battle as Luke looks he fell away a little bit from the rear of the Williams of Jay Pinto for P5, so it's now the battle for P6. Jay Pinto was being held up a little bit by Luke, and he's got 1.5 seconds on the McLaren, as the McLaren now has to look in his rearview mirror and the potentiality of losing 2 positions here if he is not careful. In this particular occasion, as Marky's closing in the gap, teetering around the 2-second mark now, just under the 2-second mark, with the McLaren gaining ground on the leader in this particular race. As you can see there, Williams currently still on board with his battle. Dave has managed to he's managed to still remain ahead for now as he thought about going around to the outside there, but was not able to. Look once again with a mistake coming into that very same corner that he lost the position, and that's a great move around the outside. It's actually pulled off by Dave. There we go. That's a beautiful move by Dave in the Alpine. Round to the outside he went, and then that gave him the inside as once again wide as Luke Bailey loses the position to Asus as well. Luke Bailey now down to 8 and probably ended up down at the escape road there. Unfortunately, he's ended up leaving the session, so we'll see if we can get him back into the lobby just now. Just a second. Oh, of course. I cannot find it. Kind of annoying that I can't find him, unfortunately. For some reason, may not have had him in, and that's why I can't see him. So hopefully, did not miss too much that was going in that time. I do believe not at the moment. Close battle at the moment. The close battle under 1 second is between 6th and 7th. And the thing with Singapore is it can very easily become a long drawn out process sort of thing. If you do not end up with these field being very spread out. Some of the complete chaos that unfolded in the initial melee while I was getting some hydration from downstairs. But it very much had been a case in point as there goes Asus making a mistake, and there is Shaggy out of the Grand Prix. Is this going to be a safety car? It is a virtual safety car which has been deployed. No safety car has not come out. There could be a chance as Ryan's into the pit lane for Red Bull. First pit lane next as he comes into the pits. It's not hard tires he goes, using the use of the cars being slowed down. Is also into the pit lane as well for Aston Martin. Onto the hard compound tires, there goes Shaggy. So we're now left with 10 drivers in this particular race from the 14 that did start. Luke Bailey has got past Asus as they're both into the pits. Luke Bailey opting to carry on. He's on the hards, so I'd understand him carrying on. Mark has also carried on as well. Lost a little bit of ground in that little intermission from when the virtual safety car came in. Quite surprised it's not full, because not often you'll see full safety cars around here due to that particular reason. But Mark is the only one still on the medium compound tires at the moment, so maybe going for a little bit of different strategy for a little bit longer on the mediums. So there we go. It's now at P4, and we are back looking at the battle for P3. Ryan having to hold off from the Fizz at the moment. The Aston Martin driver is trying to make his way through. After the initial spin with Ghost, and I believe the end of lap number 1, where there was, I believe, either some netcode or something of that nature that caused a spin for the Aston Martin driver and dropped him quite a bit down the field. Because of that, obviously, it was not ideal track and not managing to get the ideal position he wanted in qualifying. As the Aston Martin driver is looking left and right, trying to see if he can get close enough to the Red Bull driver to make an overtake or try and force him into making a defensive move. The Red Bull does not budge for the time being, but Ryan is going to find himself under pressure pretty soon, and pretty soon having to go defensive if he's not careful, and down towards turn 1 they go. And down the inside is the Aston Martin. I wonder if the Aston Martin is still carrying damage actually from earlier on. Yes it is, the Aston Martin is still missing an end plate from the contact earlier on. Must have picked that up in that particular motion. Earlier on there's Ryan now, has the DRS, but I don't know if he has the same pace to maybe come back past the Aston Martin with a full front line on that particular Red Bull. But a little quite slippery is that Aston Martin in a straight line, and that does allow the Fizz to keep hold of the 3rd place for the time being. But he does have a massive gap to the cars in front. It's about 22 seconds at this current time in being, as Ryan still remains close in the Red Bull just behind through the 2nd sector split, or towards underneath the bridge they go. Down towards the 3rd sector. 1.9 seconds is now the gap at the front. Mark is starting to close the gap back up once again, but I suspect we will see that lead McLaren in the pits. In the next few laps, the lap time pit stop I believe is around 1:13 for the mediums to the hards, and of course I think it's going to be going longer as such. So gap to leader at the moment, if we can pull up the leader. Yeah, so 23 seconds is the 23 and 24 is the gap between these two at the moment. And Liv is really proving his pace, 30.5. Even with the damage to the front wing, that's not all that's pretty good actually. Considering he's probably struggling with a little bit of turning to the right. I believe it's left hand turns for left. He may be struggling a little bit on that, because there is a penalty for J Pinto, who's down in P7 at the moment, and he's got Dave, who has Dave for company just behind him. About 1.3 seconds is the range between the two of them. So your closest battle at the moment is these two, but Ryan is starting to fade a little bit away as the Aston Martin starts to head away into the distance, which, considering, as I say, the damage, that's a pretty good feat. I imagine pull away at that rate. And you think maybe 20.5, he's pulled 2 seconds on the McLaren in front of Mark. 20.4, it was 22, just over 22 seconds. And he is gaining ground at a rate of knots at this moment in time. Let's see if this is actually going at the moment. We've got a couple of we've got the battle for P7 at the moment. A couple of the drivers are both two of the drivers which have penalty 3 in this race. This Ghost has picked up one as well, so could be crucial as such. And I'm going to game chat. That's distracting anyone. Why does it do that where it kicks me out of parties? I'm really curious as to why it does that. There we go. Should be fine now. Yeah, I'll see if I can get you in just now. I don't know why I can't find you. Oh, there you are. Not that one. Wrong person. Whoops, I haven't made some from no. Someone else is racing elsewhere. My bad. Hey, ignore that second one. Ignore that one. That's not one that you want. There we go. You should be able to be back in now. Look, should be all good. We have a virtual safety car deployed again. Must be for damage somewhere, because I'm definitely sure that's not for anywhere else. Just reminding me that I do need to click the friends list at some point again, because I have some drive from here. I'm supposed to do Sub-Zero's into the pits, so I'm assuming that virtual safety car is deployed because Sub-Zero had a moment with his front wing perhaps being lost. Well, the Marky's coming to the pits this time round, taking advantage of it. Ghost still carrying on at the moment, and the reduced pace means that he'll be able to take advantage of that and into the pits. Onto the hard tyres goes McLaren, and away he heads, and that is Sub-Zero onto the mediums just ahead, and Marky will be ahead just as he comes out of the pit lane. Although it will be quite close as he comes out, but I think he may well just have a bit. He's going to have to be quite careful as DRS has just been enabled as he comes towards turn number 1. He is going to be behind one car, but he will be ahead of Ryan. so Ryan remains behind and has fell back quite a bit actually, but now Mark on a fresh set of hard compound tyres, as we've got, I think ACC has just had a moment down in 9th in the pursuit of Dave in the Alpine P8. So unfortunately there's a little bit of a mistake from him. Further down the field, 22 seconds, Ghost the only one yet to pit. As yeah, a little bit more of a chilled out stream really for me, considering I was at 150% for pretty much most of my commentary yesterday. Not for qualifying, but for the race itself. But one of the sort of relaxed sort of commentaries where it's almost something comes across a little bit ASMR sort of thing. Well, it's a nice little battle going on here at the moment, as we've got a yellow flag in this particular sector. I'm not sure who this yellow flag is for. I believe it's for Sub-Zero, who is being lapped and is down the escape rope, maybe in the place that the Williams driver could put himself. But he is still going at the moment, as the Fizz has a massive moment as the rear twitches coming out of the penultimate corner. Did catch that in the background while on board with Marky, who's currently still in pursuit, 1.3 seconds, so it feels like it's very close between these two at the moment. Ryan is an hour further 2.3 behind as Sub-Zero's back in the pit lane again. I suspect because he had more likely another bit of wing damage on that particular car. So about halfway through, coming up to halfway through in this Grand Prix. Ghost still leads, but he's going to be going on to the medium compound tyres, and he'll be looking to make as much ground as possible, but he is losing ground to the Fizz in second, and the Fizz proving why he's championship leader with his pace as such. But certain drivers finding that when Singapore does not go your way, it's one of those things where it really does not go your way as such. As Luke has managed to get himself back into the lobby again. It's just before the big goal. Hopefully he has managed to do it. We'll have a quick check and see if he's still on ghosted. No, he's still ghosted at the moment, so we're going to send him an invite just now. We'll just make sure he's got another one just now. We'll leave that in the background at the moment. That's not what I'm looking for. Make sure not to click on the wrong name this time. See if that wants to work this time around. There we go. Hopefully that one works for him. This is a Fizz once again with the fastest lap of 30.5. 18 seconds, 18.6 seconds is the gap between himself and the leader at the moment, who is still yet to box, and Ghost will be looking at that and thinking he really does need to get a move on the go again very soon to be able to potentially make something work out in that one. 1.9 seconds, as I say, I think the gap is kind of equalised at the moment. It's a little brief lock up there, a little bit wide, goes the McLaren, that's going to cost him a little bit of ground. As we've had such a position, that's obviously from the ghosted car, and I think Luke Daly will have just got control back of his car now. Yes, he has. He has got the position, but now Luke, having got control back of his car, will now be able to get himself back into the fight once again, and get himself potentially back ahead of the Aston Martin. So the second Aston Martin versus the second McLaren at the moment. I always wondered as well why the colours were always very slightly different on the two McLarens. You've got the sort of deeper orange on that one, and then when you look on board with the Morgans, it's a little bit less so, and I think it's because the colours are very slightly different. I always thought it was a little bit strange why it was a little bit like that and such. So no gaps under 1 second at this moment in time. We're on lap 17, that's a car in, that's US I think. One of these will definitely, I think he's got going, but he's lost a lot of time. Has the kick-sauber driver, does have a full complement of front wing still. And he is the final car on the lead lap at the moment, so he should be all fine on that particular front. Jay Pinto though is getting himself within that 1 second range once again of Luke. Luke obviously having had that discount for a few laps, and Jay Pinto is now trying to even get through, and Luke is probably going to pick for herself the mediums himself very soon. same age of tyres as Ghost up in P1. Very close to the two of them. The DRS is open on the back of that Williams. The Williams, however, is not quite able to make the move stick and has to stay behind for the moment. So once again, not seeming to have the straight line proficiency he would want in that particular car at the moment, compared to even look at some older tyres, seeing the lockups from here and there occur, as the Fizz is still bringing down that gap, meeting into that gap for the lead. He's now 15.2 seconds as the DRS is open on that Williams as he goes to the outside. Is there going to be any real fight there from Luke? Luke decides to back out of it, however, the Williams is out wide. That's going to allow a chance for Luke in the McLaren to come back in and down towards this penultimate corner where you could make a move if you were close enough into this corner, but it remains as it was after the overtake, and I think that could be Luke coming. It wasn't Luke coming into the pit station, having a massive moment. Those tyres on the rear not wanting to put the power down after 17 laps on those particular tyres. A little bit unfortunate, he's out of 1 second, and I believe that's your interval. Looking to pull away as he's less than half, just about half, the age of the tyres that are on that particular Williams compared to that McLaren. Have a quick look elsewhere and see what's going on there as well. Mark is still about 2 seconds behind at the moment. The Fizz. 2 seconds of gap there. The Fizz meanwhile is still taking time hand over fist out of Ghost. 8 lap old hard versus 17 lap old hard. Ghost is indeed still going, and he's gone past the penalty once again. He's on lap forward, as you can see on the map. In the first sector split at the moment, having I believe just lapped Sub-Zero. He's lapping, he's gone past at the moment. But it's Ghost is in. It's actually annoying. That was exactly who I thought it was. Ghost into the pit lane, and away he goes. He's going to be way quicker coming the end of this. Where is he going to come out actually? Will he come ahead of Ryan, or is he going to be behind Ryan? Behind Ryan, but I think he will be ahead of Verdade for P5. Apologies about that. Hopefully that didn't come through in the commentary. My bad. It did. Now, the Fizz now in the lead of the Grand Prix versus Marky there, as Luke is into the pits for the medium compound tyres, promoting Dave up to 7th. Not ideal days for certain people in this race. We'll have actually a quick look at those who have gained and lost positions. Your biggest winner at the moment, shared biggest winner at the moment, is Dave, who's up 6. Ryan, who's also currently up 6. Then it is Junior, who's up 5. Aces is up 4. Sub-Zero, who's also up 4. And then it is up 1 for Luke Bailey, and Marky. And then down 3 is Ghost at the moment, but he has obviously just hit the fresh set of mediums. And then obviously your DNFs were down 6 for Shaggy, down 5 for Mitch, down at 9 I believe for Gattuso, and then down 8 for Linguini. So not the best of days for those drivers on this unfortunate occasion, as Ghost is going to start taking time out of Ryan. 8.4 on the interval between those two drivers, but how far behind it is Ghost at the moment on the leader? He is about 16, just over 16 seconds behind the leader of the Grand Prix. I'm sure this was on the screen. There we go. But yeah, Mark is looking to close in. 1.4 seconds once again. It's always on 10 lap old tyres, having pitted under the first virtual safety car we had in this Grand Prix, which I believe was caused by, I believe it was Sub-Zero, who had lost part of his front wing, and that was the reason for the first virtual safety car. I'm not sure the full reason for the second one though, why that one came out, because I didn't see any front wings when I was looking around, and I didn't see any sort of major yellows, So also very much been a case in point of a very fleeting moment. So here comes Mark, he's looking to make his way through 1.1 seconds now. The full lap tyre gap is starting to make a little bit of difference here as the McLaren starts to gain the ground as we've got 11 laps left in this Grand Prix. Now make that 10 as if it's that makes a mistake coming out of that, well, makes it to that final, well, down that straight, trying to get the break the toe to the McLaren behind. However, he wasn't able to fully do that, and he's still within 1 second, so DRS will be enabled this time round for Marky in the McLaren, versus the Fizz in the Aston Martin, 8.3 to Ryan behind. So no worries for the McLaren behind, and then Ghost is 4.5 and gaining on Ryan. So going later has meant that he's obviously lost the lead of the Grand Prix with the undercut that was made under the virtual safety cars that we have had from the drivers behind him before he pitted. But he's looking in a good position still, and I think he's got about another 10 laps, and I think it's probably possible. While he's got the best of life in those tyres. We're still watching this battle for the lead of the Grand Prix. Mark looking to get past using the DRS, tries to think of it goes to the outside. A little bit of a slide there from the Fizz, and they go side by side, coming down towards this corner. However, Marky decides to back out of it, and is going to have to go to the outside, or is he going to stay behind for now? Opts to stay behind, not close enough, as we've got a stopped car there. I believe that was Aces, who's had a moment down the exit of Raffles Boulevard there, and Marky looking to try and get past, but he's not going to be close enough into this particular DRS. He will get the one on the main DRS on the second of the 3 straights here, where the DRS detection zones are around this Marina Bay street circuit. We've got a yellow in sector 1 and 2, and I think that's just the kick server getting himself going once again. So no further part played of that. Marky still remains close at the moment, and I think he's in the wall once again. It is the kick server, so he's managed to get himself going, I believe. Perhaps it was just a Haas once again, but that's maybe because his rear tyres are a little bit overheating, but he's now going to have the leaders coming at him at a rate of knots here. He doesn't have a front wing at the moment, so he's got to be careful that he doesn't end up in the way here. He does indeed get out of the way, just down the inside, cuts part of the track to make sure that he's not within the way, and he's going to have to obviously pit for a brand new front wing and probably a new set of mediums at this point to take him to the end of the Grand Prix. As you can see, they're just in the background. You can see that kick server with no front wing on the car, as Ghost has got himself within the DRS range as well now, and we'll have to see if Ghost can make a move pretty soon, because he's looking very close. Ghost in the Mercedes trying to get down the inside of Ryan. Ryan on the older tyres at this point, 12 lap old hards versus 3 lap old mediums. This should be no contest on the old grip down this straight where there's no DRS, but it is a case in point of when you can get a move done. Ghost is down the inside and is into P3. With that penalty though, does need to be careful, as the kick server has got himself into the pit lane safely without any further avails or any other issues. We've had a change of position just a little bit further up as well. That is Dave getting past in the battle for P6 at the moment, past the Williams. The battle is the closest it has been yet. Mark looking to make the move once again, but he's still not quite close enough, and he's lost a little bit of time coming out of that particular corner. Seems like the Aston Martin driver has the better grip in low speed corners, and is making use of that to get himself just out of the range. You can see he's saving battery at the moment, and you can see that red flashing light, which dictates that he is currently saving ERS to use for this next straight, to see if he needs to use it, or maybe see if he can lure the McLaren driver into overtaking. As you can see, that light switches off when he starts using the battery. As into the pits goes J Pinto, our set of medium compound tyres, in P8. Should be ahead and should be fine in P8 anyway on that particular front, as Marky still remains close. The McLaren driver still in hot pursuit of the Aston Martin, but he has fell back a little bit in this lap. He was closer back at the last lap than he was this lap around as the McLaren driver. Now making picking the ground up once again, 3/10 of a second. It's going to go down to about 2.5 tenths, or just about 2 tenths, but he's not going to be close enough by the time we come to the braking zone of turn number 1, as we're coming up on around about 6 to go here in the Marina Bay circuit. It's definitely been a slow burner, this one. As here we go, Marky looking to try and get past 4 lap younger tyres. It's maybe going to start making the difference as they look to go side by side. However, there's not really much you can do. The Aston Martin holds the inside line. That extra tyre wear and that slight loss of front wing probably is going to be starting to hinder the Aston Martin driver's progress at this particular point and trying to keep himself as far away as possible. Prost has managed to clear, for third place, has managed to clear Ryan by 2 seconds now as well. 7.6 the gap to the two between second and third. He's going to be careful not to have to worry about that particular portion. 7.5 as the gap gets smaller and smaller as Marcus seems to get a little bit off the battery to see if he can try and get past him. He still remains behind for now as we go on to the end of the lap and on to lap number 25. And it's very much, it's going to be a case of, is he waiting for a chance to make the move, or is he deciding when he wants to make that move? Because he's really still sitting behind and biding his time as such at the moment. Still remains close at the moment between the two of them. That's another penalty. That's a penalty for Dave now as well. I believe he already had one. A blue penalty, yes he did. So it's just the 3 for Ghost. He needs to get himself. He's got 3.7 seconds on Ryan behind. Nearly 4 tenths was the gap there as they came through. Our two drivers only with the 3. Pushing is the McLaren driver pushing the Aston Martin through. You can definitely tell the tyre life is starting to affect the Aston Martin driver now. The hard tyres are incredibly durable. However, eventually even comes to a point where even the hard tyres is durable, as I said before just a second ago, will end up fading to a point where there will not be enough grip to put power down after a while. But admirable work from the Fizz to keep himself going in this Leah's Grand Prix, considering the fact that he is missing one entire end plate on that particular car, and still keeping this fight going. The only real close battle on track at the moment is Ghost 6.5 seconds behind at the moment. This battle for the lead of the Grand Prix, and Marty's still stuck looking at the rear of an Aston Martin, and has been looking at the rear of an Aston Martin for him at this point will probably feel like an eternity, because of how long he's been staring at the rear of that particular, the rear diffuser of that particular car. As we have in our yellow, that's a car who's had a moment. I believe that's because we go side by side. Indeed, now he's maybe got his chance down the inside. Is he going to be able to do it? No, he has to back out of it. However, he's still got a little bit of his car there. The Aston Martin though does make sure that door is very firmly closed, and made sure that it's bolted so there's no way of him getting through in that particular time. And Marky still remains behind. He's had that's his closest moment yet. As we're coming up on 4 to go here in the Singapore Grand Prix here for round number 3 here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. As I say, one of the most challenging circuits on the F1 calendar, really, as that is once again these kick servers having a little bit of trouble. These has not had the most amount of fun has it had tonight. But round the outside, Marty tries to go. He's tried inside and outside, but he's still not been able to make any kind of a move stick. So still remains around about 3/10 of a second is the gap between the two, and it's incredible that it's still the case where the actual McLaren just cannot overtake. I think just through the corners, but he cannot make this work down the straights because of that extra wing I think he's carrying. At least my thoughts, because from the DRS you'll look and see him he'll gain in, but he has to probably use the barriers to make it work. But he's now derating, so he's now running out of charge. He tries to go around the outside once again. He's going to be harried to the outside once again as well, and he's maybe going to have to think about making a move in a different place to where he would think about making a move, because there's no chance he's making a move in the normal places, because the Aston Martin driver just has him covered from almost every single avenue. However, you can definitely see how much this is now costing them, because Ghost, you can see him just in the background. That's a car, and we've got another virtual deployed. We've not seen a full safety car yet. That must be for a front wing of a car ahead. That's ACC who's retired. I believe he's retired just halfway down the track, and I'm amazed there's not been a safety deployed on any one of these ones. These come deployed so easily. Oh my word. That must have been interesting, because that's Sub-Zero. He was perpendicular on the racing line there. And good thing the Ghost is taking action there, because one of these two drivers here on the screen would no longer have been in this race. Otherwise, that's a very short VSC though. Only ran for about 30 seconds or so. And Martin's trying to make his way through. It's round the outside once again. The McLaren. Is he going to finally get it done? He has finally got the move completed, but now Fizz can have a go at it once again. In towards the long curved the straight with the kink, the right hand kink down Raffles Boulevard, as Ryan's into the pit lane for the soft compound tyres, as he goes side by side once again. And look how effortlessly it is for the Aston Martin driver. He's carrying the lower wings, and it's just so easy. So the McLaren driver had to work really hard to get that move done, but to no avail really, because Marky just has been falling behind once again. As it goes to 2.5 seconds behind these two now, and he's gaining ground, but he's running out of laps now. It's about 3 laps to go here in this Grand Prix, coming up just on 2 laps. I think this is that on 29.31. You can see him almost in the picture now in that aerial shot there. The Mercedes driver getting closer and closer on those medium compound tyres. And Mercedes is really going to start to feel that tyre or something about now. He's been on those tyres for 8 laps, so on lap 10. Round about that range for the hard compound tyres on the first virtual safety car, and he's been carrying on with those since that particular VSC. Still remaining close as well. Just a little bit further back as we've got another yellow flag once again. That's a Williams, I believe, that's had him on. So that's one of the two in or Sub-Zero who've had a moment, and I think that was the final corner as the Fizz tries to defend the inside line, trying to see what he can try and throw Marky off. He's still having none of it, and Ghost now, you can see how close he is. He's 1.8 seconds. Trying to break the toe there, hasn't fully worked, and he's still behind for now. And now Marky's going to have to look in the rearview mirror, because he's got Ghost behind on the old, younger, medium compound tyres, which will still have some life left in them due to the fact that he pitted under the second virtual safety car, or the second or third virtual safety car, one of the two. It's 1.5, and just decreasing time over time, as Ryan's going to try and make a move as well soon on the back of Verdade. Round the inside, we'll just catch the end of that one, and he's made that move stick. The Aston Martin driver trying to come back in, but that's the soft compound tyres for you, making all of the difference there for the Red Bull driver in the P4 at the moment. Probably the best he can hope for in terms of this, maybe trying to get off the Grand Prix. We're going to go back to the lead as we go on to the penultimate lap, lap number 30. Ghost is about to get himself within 1 second, but that 3 second may well cost him. He's derating a little bit down that main straight, maybe he's probably saving a little bit of charge for the final run, as that that penalty is, it's once again, you can see how much the Aston Martin driver is struggling. He's going to have to work hard if he wants to keep hold of his victories. Once again, he's going to have to try and break the toe. He goes all the way over to the right hand side to try and break the toe, but the McLaren driver goes with him on board at the moment with the McLaren driver, and he has to remain behind once again. Every time he's trying to get close, he's got past once, but then he's been shown the door on every single other occasion, and it's going to be a case of how much longer can the Fizz make those tyres work. second himself. The Mercedes driver has got himself into the party for the lead of this Grand Prix, at least on track at the moment. Obviously that 3-second penalty will drag him back a little bit, and he's not able to build that 1 second gap in, or the 3-second gap in what's going to be 2 laps of racing action. Still remaining all close at the moment, these guys, all fighting for position. And now, as we come onto the final lap of the Grand Prix, it's going to be absolutely tooth and nail for whoever wants to win this Grand Prix. Is it going to be the Aston Martin? Is it going to be the McLaren? Or is it going to be, at least on track, 4 penalties get applied to the Mercedes driver, who's now currently in P3, DRS on the 2 cars behind Mark, still remaining behind the McLaren driver, still not able to do it. There's a penalty. So now it's a chance for Ghost to get P2, and there's a massive slide there from the McLaren, and that all but secures victory for the Aston Martin on this final lap of the Grand Prix. And that's how quickly things can be turned on their head, purely just by one small mistake. And now the Aston Martin driver will now know that he is pretty much safe. But it's been a great drive from the Fizz, considering the spin on the early laps, and maybe for someone like Ghost, he maybe went a tiny bit too long on those hard compound tires. Maybe he should come in a little bit earlier, but I suppose it's the danger of knowing when to pit, really, and making sure you have tires left at the end of the race rather than having absolutely no pace. And that is really what it's about. But it is going to come to the point where it's going to finish in this order unless there is any changes. But I think Marky's not going to be close enough to get down the inside. And as we're coming towards for the final time, no more DRS. That was your final chance with the DRS, because the run to the line is going to be very short. It's going to be the final corner. Here we go. Any battery left for the drivers is now going to get used as Marky tries to get close, but the Fizz keeps hold of his position. And I'll tell you what, this is a good drive from the Fizz, considering the spin on the opening lap, deciding to go for the hard tyres on the first or the second virtual safety car, and he wins the Grand Prix. Mark will come home in P2, and Ghost will come home in P3. So there's your podium pretty much secured. Ryan's going to bring himself home in P4. A bit of a lonely racing end for Ryan. Maybe getting his fastest lap point on the board and making sure he picks himself up that extra point and taking it away with him from Singapore. We're now just waiting for the remnants as Sub-Zero's crossed the line in P9. A lap down on the field as Ghost has retired. What's happened there? Ghost has actually retired. He's left too early, and he's left slow. Not sure about that. He may still be classed as third. I'll have to see on that one. This works. Well done to the Fizz. He's going to pick up driver of the day for me. Great recovery drive from him, showing his pace and adding to his championship lead. With Marky, a great scrap between the two of them, and then in third it was, I think it was Ghost. We'll have to see how that one plays out as such, but it says Ryan's on the podium there for the moment, so we'll have to see how that indeed does all paid out. At least I have results this time round. But yeah, his Fizz finishes on pole with Marky in second. I believe Ghost is going to be there in P3. I'm not sure how that was going to play out, so if it was the case then everyone would bump down one, so Ryan finishing fourth, Ray finishing fifth, sixth, David seventh, eighth, Sub-Zero in ninth, and then that is your finishers. So you're 2 laps down. Your DNFs, as you can see there, Oasis, Shaggy, Mitch, Tucson, and Linguini. Unfortunate in that one, but great drive from the Fizz and all of that. So, taking us to the next round of the actual season will take us to the Zandvoort circuit in Zandvoort circuit in the Netherlands. So hopefully we will see you there, and if everyone enjoyed tonight, hopefully slightly more ASMR self-commentary. But yeah, we will see you out in Zandvoort next time.